Steve, thank you so much for joining us today, man. It's a huge pleasure, and it's interesting because as I talk to people who are registering for EcomCon, and I ask them, who are the top 3 or 4 people that they're interested in hearing, you are consistently one of them. And
Thank
so,
you, man.
yeah. So I'm so excited to chat with you, as is everybody else who's going to be tuning in to watch this. So thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate you inviting me and my brother. Obviously, my brother is not going to join us today, but thank you so much for inviting us to share our information, and hopefully we can provide a lot of value for you guys and our viewers as well.
Absolutely, man. So before we jump into our conversation, people often wonder what the backstory is of someone who's achieved success. They wonder whether or not they actually had hard times, if life has always just been easy. What's your story from, when you first started as an entrepreneur to where you're at now? How'd you get there?
Yeah, it's like a really, really long story, but I'll try to crunch it into a quick summary. So I've been doing e-commerce physical products for more than 10 years from now. So I started from eBay back in when I was I moved to China in 2005. So when we're just students, you don't really have too much money, and you can't really get into all this huge, big kind of physical kind of retail brick and mortar stores, right? So I ventured into because there's so much sourcing capability in China. So probably that's one of the main advantage that I have being in China in the early days when everything is so cheap, right? So I started with eBay, trying to buy and sell. So I don't really have to keep too much inventory at the same time. So that's probably something like the early stages of drop shipping, back in 05, 06.
Yeah.
So I did pretty well. I think back in the days for students like me, I think I did pretty well. Probably at my peak on eBay was probably 40, 50,000 per month, which I was already really contented during then. So I explored different kinds of auction sites, including the ones in Asia. And, all in all, we still did pretty well. But, there came to be a time where PayPal has been a jerk. It's been so much problems, even back in the days, right?
Yeah.
And I think they are so much better right now, probably given the volume we're doing, but back in the days, even if you're processing 50, 100K per month, you're literally nothing to them, right?
Yeah.
So just randomly just because of one dispute or 2 disputes, out of thousands, they just froze our account. And after appealing and everything, it just they just froze everything and give you no chance of appealing. So our funds got stuck for 6 months. Yeah, so it destroyed our business because we can't continue selling. But of course we have backup accounts, right?
Yeah.
So we continue, but that day really made me realize that you're selling on someone's platform. So it's they can just destroy you overnight, just like that, right? So it made me think that why shouldn't I have something that I can literally call my own e-commerce site, right? So there's really, I don't think even Shopify is available then, right? So we started exploring a lot of different kind of small softwares, blogs, kind of bloggy type of selling on e-commerce. So we started with something similar to WordPress.
Okay.
Started selling. Then we only focused on selling on Q4, and we consistently did about 100 to 200K just for Q4. And that was pretty much what I was doing I'll just take the entire whole year break just to make sure I can capitalize on Christmas, right?
Yeah.
So after that, when things started being more consistent, I still started building my own Magento site. So everything was built on Magento during then. Things started really picking up during around probably 08, 09. When our big breakthrough was when Facebook was available. We did okay, probably 30, 40K per month through SEO and Google AdWords, but the big ones would be from Facebook. So I still remember we started testing with $200 and we got 1 to 2,000 back in revenue. I was oh my God, that's like the big thing, right?
Yeah.
And we're really one of the earliest guys that actually start doing like e-commerce and Facebook marketing back in the days. So like I think we're spending about 1 to 200,000 per month. So there was like one joke I told a lot of my friends. So like there's Facebook ads team usually send out like an email to all the advertisers, right, from time to time, right, with
Yeah.
some information. So like I replied to that email, it's like, hey, could you send me more information? Like he said, no, oh, yeah, sure. Like, but we only send it to people who's spending at least 1,000 per month. Like I replied to the email, dude, I'm spending like 100,000 per month, so
Uh,
like, and I was given so much like, I mean, back in the days, like you, even if you're spending 100,000 per month, you're like a super big spender already, right?
yeah.
There's like so little people spending so much money back then. But right now, if you spend 1 million, you're just like one of the small guys.
Hmm.
But I mean, we got a lot of like like insights and preference, like new APIs. But I would say things has really evolved back like right now. It's so much easier for a lot of newbies or like people just getting started to get into this entire like e-commerce drop shipping, whether or not you're doing private label or whether or not you're doing drop shipping. I think it's really a great time to get into this game because like everything it's so evolved. Like you have Shopify, you have drop shipping, you have logistics partners that's ready to ship you like drop shipping products. If you do it back then, nobody knows what's drop shipping. Nobody knows what's like all this. There's no even AliExpress available. There's only Alibaba, right?
Yeah.
Like I mean, we did a lot of all this, but kind of got like really ambitious. So I got into like startups. So I did a few startups in China. I did like 2 startups in US, Silicon Valley. We did pretty well on Indiegogo. We raised about close to like 1.6 million.
Yeah,
And we
that's really something. I read your post, and I think people just look at that and they're just like, oh, but the thing is that you did it at a time when no one was raising over $1 million on
Yeah,
Indiegogo.
I mean it's I mean I do look back at this as one of like my proud achievements because like it's really hard back then. I mean people that have done crowdfunding or like Kickstarter, Indiegogo, these guys definitely could relate to how hard it is. I would say probably like 80 to 90% of all projects fail to raise any money at all.
Yeah.
And I feel like literally just launch something and like being able to kill it with not much advertising budgets. I mean, we did pretty okay. And I mean, we do have sales from like our e-commerce sites and everything. So on and off, I'm still involved in e-commerce, but probably leaning towards more of like, the startup kind of like entrepreneurship, right? So I really want to build something that, could kind of like help a lot of people. So probably more involved in tech consumer electronics back then. So I did about 2, 3 kind of like startups, but it's really hard. So I mean, you really need a lot of cash flow and a lot of money to like venture into electronic startups because you're up against like people like Apple, Samsung,
Yeah.
all these big players. So you really can't beat them unless you have something really really unique and you have like a really strong tech team. Whereby I got screwed up by my partner who claims he has like a really really strong tech team in Taiwan, right? So yeah, I mean like so after that, that's my big downfall. I went through like hell. I have to take the blame. I have to refund all this money through like my personal funds and so on and so forth. And pretty much I took like an all-in mindset when I was doing all these startups because like all these entrepreneurs, like, I mean, everyone wants to make this work, right? So basically, I poured in all my savings, all my time just went into all the startups. So it took me a while to really just regain all this, like, I mean, good mentality because like I almost went into depression during then because I lost pretty much everything that I've built like for e-commerce, all my savings, millions and millions of dollars lost, and I have to take the blame, right? I'm appearing on like a lot of like big sites claiming that I ran away with the money and buying a Ferrari with it when that Ferrari is like a picture token like in like 3 4 years ago during a holiday trip in Italy. So I mean, don't mess with press, man. Don't mess with press. They can twist whatever things to their favor. as long as the readers find it amusing. So that is the part of the reason why I kind of like, lay low for the next few years, taking time off, trying to find something that's less stressful.
How did you get out of that? Because I think one of the things that a lot of entrepreneurs, young entrepreneurs, they get in and they believe that they're going to be the next Mark Zuckerberg and overnight
Yeah.
make $1 billion company. And they don't realize that it's going to be 5, 6, 7, 8 years before they learn a skill set that will actually allow them to earn. And when they have their first dip, it kills most of them. So what did you do to get out of that dip, not fall into deep depression, and recommit?
Yeah, I think probably like mentally I'm actually kind of strong. Like I've been through a lot of ups and downs even prior to doing my like e-commerce and startups, right? So even for like e-commerce stuff before, right? I told you like we have like our PayPal frozen, our logistics screwed up. They send all the things to the wrong customers. So I mean, it's all this experience that kind of build you up to someone better and stronger mentally, or better in experience, and so on and so forth. But I think kind of the thing is I kind of despise being in the state of like negativity. I'll always come back to myself and I'll just talk to myself in a way, in my mind. I'll just refresh myself, like, dude, I'll say like something like, I know how hard it's to do startups, right? And like, there's always ups and downs in life. So we have to treat this like a lesson and take whatever, that we should have done properly and just reiterate and improve for the next project. So like, I mean, I still like my lifestyle, obviously, because like my greatest, I'm really lucky because my family do have my back when I was really down. There's places where I can call home. I can go back to my family, where I have no place to stay. I'm left with probably less than 100 US in savings. Yeah, I'm serious, man. After
Wow.
paying everyone off, like when you have to let your stuffs go, it's really crazy because like, I mean,
Awful.
this guy's been through thick and thin with me, and they know it's not what I want, right? I mean, these guys believe in the dream, in the vision of the company that you want to build, right? So yeah, it's really really painful process to like get out of this zone, and like I mean, essentially you're letting the people that trusted you, go, right? So it's really painful. But I think mentally, I think entrepreneurs need to always like find time for themselves to refresh themselves, think through what they have done, just to motivate themselves all the time. Because like there's no one that's going to I know there's a lot of motivation courses, seminars, events, and so on and so forth, right? But if you're not even motivated to do something for your life or motivated to earn money, right? You don't deserve it. That's my opinion, right?
I
So
agree 100%. Yeah.
yeah. So like recently, my cousin is going through like some crap with her marriage and so on and so forth, right? So she's wanting a change in her life. So I've introduced her to e-commerce. Like I told her this could change her life. She could be independent, but she has to do something about her life because I could teach you, but if you're not willing to take action, you're not willing to do anything in your life or make a change, no one's going to be able to help you, right? I mean, who is going to help you to make so much money if you're not even ready or want to earn money in the first place, right? So yeah, I mean, that's what got me out of this negative state of mind. It probably took me a while. I took a little bit of holidays. I went on vacations just to chill. And I mean, talking to a lot of friends do actually help. Friends that are there for you, friends that actually do support you. I mean, there's a lot of people that do like support you just from speaking, right? Just from your mouth. But I mean, those guys that really want to see you standing back up, those guys are the people that you want to hang out with during like your worst times because they're gonna give you ideas. So I went into forex trading, for like 2 3 months, right? I'm still pretty all right with it, right? So but I just felt like, I have a friend who's really good at forex trading. So he kind of like took me under his wing, taught me all the secrets and everything. But, I've been staring at like charts for more than 18, like 16, 17 hours every single day just to backtrack all the, I've been testing all the strategies he taught me. But essentially, like he told me something really important that like, I could teach you every single thing, but you can't control the market, right? Because Forex is a trillion dollar industry, right? And players like us we don't make a difference at all. But so he told me, why not you just go back and do e-commerce, which you already specialize, right? So that advice actually just gave me a huge wake up call, because I'm basically falling back into the mentality of like trying to find the next magic bullet, right? I'm trying to find something that I can build up my capital really, really quickly. So I went to try every single shit I could find, right? So I moved back to Singapore for like 1 or 2 months, and I moved back the next day once I decided. So I booked the ticket, I moved back, I started doing e-commerce. Then my brother just graduated. So like at the same time, he's trying to look for a good marketing job. So I was telling my brother, like, look, you have like a good guy that knows marketing and e-commerce. Why are you trying to go to like learn something from like a corporate job, right? Where you're just gonna do like same things day in and day out. So we kind of like partnered up for this like new venture, because I really need a good partner in this deal, right? Because I've been scammed with all this bad partners. So I think things really kind of took off, like, back for us last year when like we combined forces. I have someone to trust and delegate to. And like my brother has been really hardworking. He's taking care of majority of all our e-commerce stuff right now. I've been exploring new business investments and everything on my side. So yeah, that's pretty much my journey from like, ups and downs all throughout this 10 years. Yeah, so it's definitely not a fun to say thing, going up. No one would like to go down when they're up there, right?
Mhm.
Definitely everyone would prefer a smooth trip all the way to the top, right? But it's life, so things doesn't just happen
Yeah.
all the way to the top. Yeah.
That's simply it. There's an ebb and flow, and life is always that way. I think back over like my 12, 13 years, and it was up, down, up, down. Like I was always trending up, but then
Hmm.
I'd drop back down and go severely in debt to keep the company alive. Then I'd work, that's what it is. And if you can't overcome that and control, because it's easy to lose your mind when things aren't going well. Really
Yeah.
easy. You've got to, anyway. So I was going to ask you a theoretical question that everyone's
Sure.
interested in, but I'm happy that we had this conversation first because it turns it not theoretical.
Okay.
A lot of people ask this. One of the guys that's sponsoring EcomCon, Alex Becker, with Market Hero, the email program, he just did a YouTube like vlog on what he would do if he lost absolutely everything. And for him, it was theoretical because he hasn't been with his existing business. He hasn't gone through that slump, but you
Mhm.
went through the slump. And so the interesting question the question of the hour that people want to know is, if Steve Tan suddenly lost everything, how would you start back up and create what you already currently have?
Yeah, I think the best thing I would think, if I have to restart everything from zero, would probably be like at least have to save a few thousand first, right? Just to make sure I have the funds to do product testing. Obviously, I'm gonna start off with the e-commerce game again, right? Because that's the easiest and things that I've been good at. So probably I would at least save up a few thousand for Facebook funds and probably for product sourcing and some cash flow. So it's all right to start with less than 1,000, but it just makes things harder for testing and scaling. And you need all these funds for like cash flow, um, when paying your suppliers. So after that, I'll start with a general store for sure. So the question that I get a lot is like, do I start off with a niche store or a general store when starting out? So we do start off with general store because you don't actually know what you're gonna sell. Because like let's say I'm like just starting out again, right? So let's say I don't have so much information on what sells well. Like let's say I don't know anything at all. So I would just start off with a general store. I'll start off with like a few big niches. Let's say those really like the few big ones are probably like beauty, baby, cleaning, kitchen, all these kind of different big niches. Then I'll start exploring which ones has really good, interesting products, right? So because I'm sure a lot of people will say like, don't you have to find something that you're passionate about? But I mean, no one gives a crap of what you think, right? I mean, really, essentially, you are trying to make money in this business. You're not trying to do or build. Of course, obviously, in the long term, you want to build something that you're really, really passionate about, which in my case, I'll think of e-commerce as a whole, which I'm passionate about, right? So like my whole intention of doing e-commerce is to build sustainable income and ROI. So, all our advertising are built on pure ROI. We check all our ads. It's like pure direct response, right? You're here to make money. You're here to make ROI. So you're not in the game to do charity, right? So essentially, I'll start off with a few big niches. Then after that, I'll find products that do have like, really good, probably like after testing with Facebook ads, I'll find winning products day in and day out. I'll consistently do testing. Probably when like starting from zero, if you don't have much funds, probably you're kind of limited to like testing a lot of products. But I would say at least keep your testing really, really consistent, because like that's where you're gonna find your gold mine, right? So you don't find a gold mine in like just one or two tries, right? You have to keep digging. You have to dig deep enough as well, right? So this was a really painful lesson, because like we have tested a product that we are so impatient, right? And like over the next few weeks, we saw another marketer took it off and scaled it to like probably 50, 60 million views. I was like, oh my God, we have like first movers advantage. And like we kind of gave up because like we thought it's like not a winning product. And if we have like stuck on consistently and let it run for a little bit longer, that would be definitely a seven-figure product in a short span of a month for sure. So I think one of the other advice I would say is like, don't be too like impatient. Give it a little bit more time, for Facebook to optimize, for Facebook to give you more stats. A lot of people are coming back to us like, hey, I spent $5. I don't see any sales. I was like, oh my God, you're selling a product, right? So you don't expect to spend $5 and get 1,000 in sales, right? It doesn't work that way. Yeah. Right? So, I mean, a lot of newbies are kind of impatient. They want results immediately. So I would say probably give it a little bit more time, let it run a little bit more. So, and the other thing is keep testing new products, because like if you are able to find one product, I mean, ClickFunnels has something like you're one funnel away from a six-figure funnel or something, right?
Yeah.
And it applies to e-commerce as well. Like you're literally one six figures, one product away from a six-figure store, right? One product can bring you up easily 5-6 figures, per month. Not even annually, just per month, right?
Yeah.
But obviously, you have to keep training out new products, and in the long term, I would build a brand out of this niche, right? So let's say if out of all this 4 or 5 niche, right, I found, let's say, baby to be really appealing and something that's really consistent for like new products, I'll pull out this entire niche and I'll build a new store out of it. And I'll brand it nicely. I'll get a good designer to build nice logos. I'll find copywriters to like write really good descriptions, email follow-ups, so on and so forth, so that people could resonate more. Moms could resonate more once they see the brand. If it's like, if they see this whole Shopify team based, like stores everywhere, because everyone's doing dropshipping right now. They see all the same ads day in and day out. They click to there. They see the same offers. They see the same images. We invest a lot on like, trying to differentiate ourselves for obviously our niche stores. But for general stores, we just like, we do the Me Too thing, right? We just use the same whatever images we have. But, from time to time for like those winning products, we do take a lot of time and effort to like restructure the whole thing just to make sure we could differentiate ourselves in terms of offer, pricing, descriptions, pictures, video ads, and everything. It's different from whatever everyone's doing. So, and it gives you a unique advantage because like if you're using your own videos, and definitely Facebook has the ability to differentiate what's unique and what's duplicated content. It's just a matter of time they're just gonna disclose this because like Google, they're gonna penalize you for using the same content over and over again. So
Yeah.
all dropshippers who's using the same video or the same photo ads that everyone's using, that is what exactly the same reason why a lot of people is complaining. Hey, I saw this product that's really doing well, but why can't I mimic the success? Because you're using the same content, you're using the same video, you're selling the same product, and probably you're just copying the exact same video. So probably Facebook is giving preferential, delivery to them because they have all this like first movers advantage, and probably they have a good track record of selling all these products. So yeah, I mean that's pretty much how I would start from my. If I have to start from zero again, I'll have a process. I'll set up a process in place. I have to follow through the same process every day, like a robot. There's no like Sundays. I'll do my research every single day. I'll try to find unique ways of how I could automate all this. So now, right now, we do have a team in place whereby I teach them how to find winning products. Obviously, process that I've built in place. After all this experience, how every team, every player makes a difference. Do research only day in and day out, right?
Mhm.
And they will just consolidate everything in a Google shared folder, like shared drive or shared file. So like then me and Evan would just go through this list every day and pick out a few products, or probably our product manager would do that, right? He'll do all the filtering, so it pulls out a lot of time from us to do all this recurring work, right? So we'll decide on which products we're gonna run. Then once decided, it goes through like the Trello kind of process flow. Then everything is automated. We have people doing testing, we have people doing scaling. Obviously, we do most of the scaling. My brother takes care of that with his, media bias. But the rest of things are pretty much automated. So, but obviously, when you're just starting out, you're not gonna have that kind of scale. But it's basically once you go through the same process, do make sure you find time to drop down everything in documentation, right? So whenever you're ready to scale, you have all your SOPs, standard operating procedures in place, whereby you don't have to redo every single thing because it's very tedious, right? So when you're learning, find out, do a good habit of like taking down, useful notes whereby you could trespass to your next staff or your partners or whichever to help you take care of all this. Yeah.
So this is an interesting question that I like to ask people who have achieved a high level of success, because everyone wants to do it. A lot of people talk about it, but what differentiates the desire from achievement is the action, but not just one time, consistent daily action. What is your personal routine day in, day out? Do you wake up at the same time? Do you fall asleep at the same time? What do you do in between? What is that? What does a day in the life of Steve Tan look like?
I think I'm still not exactly super like disciplined at this point of time, I would say. Because pretty much a lot of things are kind of like automated for us right now. So we're kind of like doing more of the lifestyle thing. We wake up whenever we want, but I mean, it's the body clock. So I'm really into like health right now for myself. I really want to take good care of my health because honestly, I don't want to die too early, right? That's
Yeah.
pretty much the reason why I'm planning to move back to Singapore because like the pollution is really bad in China, right? So I mean, I do wake up pretty. I mean, I would say pretty early for me. Like I wake up around 7:30, 8ish. Even though I sleep at around 11, 12. You know, so my next habit would be trying to sleep earlier because like I want to try to sleep around 10 to 11 because apparently that's what I heard. That's the best time to get sleep, and your body gets a lot of like recovery. So I'll try to wake up early so I start the day fresh. I'm trying to get into like meditation, like all this kind of ritual thing, in the morning, so that and probably some exercise, which I'm lacking off. So that's my ideal routine. So, but right now I'm just like waking up. The first thing I'll do is check my stats. I'll check all the stores, revenue streams, if it's like if everything's all right, right? If we have hit our daily target. So numbers is the first thing I do. First thing in the morning, right? I don't check any Facebook messages. I don't. The only thing I'll check is my, all my merchant accounts. I'll check my Shopify stats. Then I'll wake up. Then I'll probably get some breakfast. Then after that, we'll start like probably with a stand-up meeting with my brother. So we'll like just chill out in the house, like probably just go through what's the quick summary of the yesterday things that we have done. Like we have tested like 10 products. 5 products did okay, 3 products didn't do okay. As a really, really quick summary, just in the morning, just me and my brother. All right. So it gives us a very good morning in a way that we know what's going on, whether it's a good day or a bad day. But even though if it's a bad day, we still keep ourselves like really motivated, because like we know testing is just part of the process. Let's say we lost like 2,000-3,000 in testing. I mean, it's just like part of the process of finding a 6-7 figure product, right? So, I mean, even if you're buying lottery, you're going to invest in buying lottery first, right? Unless you're super, super duper lucky. You don't get it at first go, right? You have to spend like thousands and buying every single week, just to make sure. And there's no guarantee even if you could win, right? But that's different from like e-commerce, because like you're spending money in like, and you're going to get better every single day doing the same things day in and day out. Like it's like a routine, right? So after we have our stand-up meeting, we'll check, with our media buyers. That's pretty much all our focus for like pretty much the prior to afternoon, right? So after the afternoon, we'll probably check more on like the logistics, customer service. Is our customer support manager still like, following up? Is it like, do we need more staffs? So he's going to come back with us with reports every single day, whether our team is hitting our KPIs that we have set up for our CSR teams, whether, all these things we have in place is still working out, or is it breaking some of the things we have in place. So I think one of the things I've learned from Don Wilson is like, he told us like, imagine if you are to 100x or 10x your business right now, what's going to break? So that's one of the questions that I actually did start asking myself, probably 1 or 2 times throughout the week. What if we're able to scale, like, let's say 300K per day to like 1 million per day, or maybe 1.5 million per day in Q4, what's going to break, right? So what we're doing right now, we're doing a lot of preparation work for Q4. So our team right now, so in the afternoons, probably all the way up to 6 to 7, is probably a lot of meetings, going through like the product list, and probably talking to like our media team, our product managers on our upcoming plans, going through Trello, liaising with suppliers, logistics, payments, and so on and so forth would be probably all done in the afternoon section. So I'll try to, in a way, try to automate as much as possible. Having people to delegate is a big part for us. So because like you can't be the one answering like social media questions, you can't be the one doing like Zendesk tickets. It's gonna take out all this time for you. But no doubt, do spend like 30 minutes or 10 minutes, like once in a while, to just go through to make sure everyone's doing their job well, right?
So one of the hard things for me when I went online from brick and mortar was I was used to having a physical office, all of my staff right there, 100 phone reps, 7 people in finance. Like at any point in time, I could physically see them. And attempting to go virtual was something that took me a while to actually do. Are you guys fully virtual, or do you have in-house people in your office and whatnot?
Yeah, we do have like, it's kind of a hybrid, right? So for our team in Philippines, it's like almost 100% virtual, which actually I'm like you. I really like a physical office. I like the kind of startup kind of office, Facebook kind of like, vibe,
Yeah.
culture, and so forth, right? We have beers all around and all this, right? So um, I'm 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 torn apart from this because like it's so much hassle maintaining a physical office, right? You know, you have to. There's a lot of like employers kind of problems you're gonna have, right? So like you're gonna have staffs who leaves your company. That there's gonna complain to labor or whatever. All this to be kind of issues in Philippines. We have been through all that shit, right?
Yeah.
So I've been talking with Don. So I was telling him I'm planning to buy an office in Philippines next year, a really big one. So that I could house all my virtual staffs into one super big office, right? So I'm still torn. I still don't know whether I should do that. But in my heart, I like having a physical office because I still think everyone works better. You can collaborate better. If everyone's there, like once the designer finish this, they can discuss with someone else whether this is good. We can launch this. We can edit it right on the fly, right? I like things fast. So that is pretty much probably the reason why I like a physical office. But after talking to Ezra, Don, all these guys have like literally 100% virtual. I was like, oh my god, right?
Yeah.
So is that something I should just maintain with my existing structure? But in China, like we do have in-house like staffs, like because you can't go virtual on logistics and warehousing, right? You
Yeah.
have to have physical presence. So we do have like our own warehousing. We have our staff for logistics, pick, pack, ship. We have our big team of like purchasing procurement team in China. So basically for me, it's easier for me because like my parents do have like a physical office there. So I'm just like, getting free office space out of them, for my procurement team. And we could easily like, don't have to go through all the hassles of setting up a HR team to like do all the hiring. So we're just gonna tap on whatever they have in place, right? And just make use of their team to help us hire good players in like the procurement because like every cent counts, right? For procurement, like if you're doing volume, if you're not doing volume, it's fine. But if you're doing like tens of thousands of units every single month, every single dollar counts. So like they do take care of all this procurement for us, and the head of procurement is definitely someone that you have to trust because like it's a really gray and dark area in the procurement side for China because they do get rebates, they do get kickbacks, from suppliers. They do get like they call it the hongbao. It's like the rate packet. They have to give like underground table kind of like rebates to all the purchases, right? Because like they have the power to change a supplier, right? So if you piss them off, they'll say, "All right, I'll stop buying from you. I'll buy it from someone else." So definitely you want to have like your manager be someone that you trust because like these guys do capitalize on your volume, right? If they want to do something shady. When I was just in China early days on, do you know like those like procurement or QC people like that represent like
Yeah.
all big companies like probably like all these big super mall supermarkets, those people that represent them in China, right? Those QC team managers can afford to buy real estates that's worth like tens of millions back in the days. Like that's like 10 years ago. Imagine how much rebate they get from all this like big Walmarts or whichever, right?
Absolutely.
Because they have to say the golden word. They have to say, all right, this whole production passed the QC test, right? If they say no, if your rate packet is not good enough, right? They're not going to give you their seal of approval, which in reality probably the purchase order would be probably something that costs millions, right? So if they don't give you the approval, the manufacturer risk the millions of dollars they are unable to ship to like the buyer. So these guys do give a lot of kickbacks to like procurement teams, especially, and also at the same time QC teams. So this is still a bad trend that's still happening on and going in China. So you just want to be like kind of like wary of this. There's something like this. So if you go through a sourcing agent, it's pretty much the same thing, but it's just going to be more expensive, and probably they get majority of the money from the sourcing as well.
Gotcha. Yeah, I hear you 100%. I ran into those issues myself, not just in China, but in Russia and Ukraine, where I lived as well. What are the top one or two barriers that stop someone from going from 6 to 7 figures, and then more importantly, perhaps from 7 to 8 figures? Things like if you drop ship, having the product show up and the declared value is 97 cents, the Ziploc bags that they show up in, lack of a brand, as opposed to your own box, great interior, perhaps growing out your team, handling the customer service. What are the things, if there are people listening who are at 6 figures and they just can't get to 7 figures, what do they need to upgrade to make that leap?
Is that 6 figures per month or annually?
Yeah, no, per month.
Per month. All right. So I think part of the good things that I'll look while looking back right now is that it's good that I have all this branding experience, and been Silicon Valley, California, San Francisco, all this experience, right? I mean, all this experience do help you. There's a unique advantage that we do because we know branding ourselves. But branding is like a very tiring thing if you don't know what you're doing. And it's like a slower process. So usually I would not focus too much on branding from the outgo if you're just starting out. Branding would be a second stage once you have like a very consistent business, right? Let's say you have like consistent 5 to 6 figures per month, then you would start looking at private label. After private label, you consider more and like doing all your own manufacturing, your own products. That would probably scale you up more, and you have no competitors if your product is really unique, right? But to answer your question, is like if you're stuck at like 6 figures, right? 6 figures to 7 figures. It's I'll probably say majority of the time that you're not delegating enough, because I have a friend that likes doing probably like 400,000 or 500,000, and they don't even outsource. I
Wait,
was
he
like,
does it himself?
he does it himself with his like girlfriend, and like they have an in-house team of like 1 or 2 people that handles everything. I was like, dude, you could be doing like 7 figures so easily if you just like expand and delegate something outside to VAs that's so cheap, right?
Yeah.
But certainly a lot of guys don't even know like what's a VA, I mean, it came to us as a surprise because like we have been outsourcing for a really, really, really long time in the Philippines. We used to have a team of like 50 people there, physical in-house office. But right now, I would actually say that people that can't scale is pretty much because like they are spending too much time day in and day out focusing on the wrong things. They're not looking at the big picture. So let's say if you're not focusing on things that's bringing in revenue, you're probably messing around with like, oh man, my CSR is not fast enough. Get managers in place, people that could actually handle everything better than you, right? People that knows what's the right KPIs to look for instead of like scratching your own head and don't know what to do. Find people, pay them good salaries. Like even, I mean, if you're paying 1 or 2 thousand US in Philippines, it's like, you're like pretty much part of the cream of the crop in the country, right?
Yeah,
So
100%.
yeah. So like last time we do have like, I mean, for our startups, like we got really, really like high level players in our company for like 3 to 4 thousand. These are people managing at least like 100 million in affiliate sales for US MNCs. So you could get this kind of caliber of players in Philippines and all this like probably second or third world countries to help work for you for like that's going to make a huge difference. So once I got all these players in place, it takes out so much time out of my daily routines of doing the same stuff. So my brother actually took out a lot of my routine stuff right now. So I freed up myself so that I have more time to engage in potential new business that we're investing in, cryptocurrency, all these different kind of business that we're going into aggressively. So that is how we define probably our own mindset and probably like how we scale bigger. So even when we're doing like our 360,000 per day, we pretty much don't have to like sweat over it because everything is automated. Our procurement's automated, our logistics automated, we have someone great taking care of all our CSRs, our CSR teams. We have people that take good care of our customers, right? So you need to get to a stage. The question that I always ask myself is, if me and my brother is going to take a break for like 1 or 2, or is it going to continue to scale, right? Or even that you could, be away for like a short holiday, you're building, you can't have pretty much everything depend on you for your business. So that is when we ask that question ourselves, we know to look out for, up to par, right? What things we need to improve from there.
Very, very wise. I'm pulling my video just because there's some lag right now, but I hear you 100%. We become our own linchpins. We are the ones that stop the leverage from happening when we try to wear all the hats as entrepreneurs. So
Yeah, exactly.
we've got to just delegate it out. True, people aren't going to do it as well as you unless you hire better people, and you've got to hire them actually to actually move forward. So, Steve, how can people get in touch with you? How can they work with you? And tell us a little bit about the event that you have that's coming up.
Yeah, so I mean, we are gonna host like one of the biggest like e-commerce events in Singapore. Part of the reason because I'm from Singapore, right? So all the time I have to fly to US to like see you guys, attend like big events, right? So like I really don't like to fly too much. It's like a long ride, right? So yeah, so a lot of people are telling me like, Steve, why don't you like set it up in US? Because like I don't like, definitely we could get like a lot of people joining our event if we set it up in the US. But so I thought probably doing one in Asia is kind of unique because there's really like literally no one doing it in Singapore, like the big scale one. So we're gonna have like an e-commerce event on the 21st and 22nd of October. So we're gonna have like a huge list of people coming to speak and share all about e-commerce only. There's no selling or any sorts during the whole event. I mean, this is really upfront with all our speakers. We told them, we really want to make this like a content rich summit, right? Just so that everyone could actually benefit from it. And if people are interested, they will just reach out by themselves, right? Because if you're giving good enough value in the summit, you're gonna gain a lot of good branding for like the gurus themselves, their softwares they're using. You don't really need to do any hard sell at all. So that's our like kind of like approach. And we don't like to, I mean, humans don't like to be sold at events, right? And coming from an entrepreneur and like attending myself, I've been through all these kind of events that I'm doing hard sell on every single event, and I don't like it. So when I don't like it, I'm not gonna do it for my own event as well. So essentially, it's gonna be like a 2-day event whereby we have like a list of like 10 to 12 people. Facebook is sending 2 people coming as well. So we're gonna hear, the real uptime news from Facebook themselves on what's the best practices, what's not supposed to be done. They'll show us like good examples, the whole industry trend for e-commerce, because they're getting a lot of like all these account managers to give a lot of information on e-commerce because they know this is a growing and hot trend right now. So it's good. We're really lucky and honored to have Facebook coming to speak, for sending 2 speakers to speak at our event as well. And we have like John Hutchinson, Thomas Barkey. We have like a lot more Dimitri's like speak on all different kind of topics, annual bidding, funnels, process in place. Me and my brother is gonna speak on how we scale our business. I'm not gonna go through every single because this information is on our website, which is e-commerce world summit. We're actually sold out for all of the starting, probably want to get more information and probably learn from all. Pretty much these guys are really the cream of the crop, people that know what they're speaking about, right? So I think it's really worth the day, the trip to come down to Singapore. It's a really nice country. And like to spend 2 days with all these like gurus and people that walk the talk, people that know what they're speaking about e-commerce. And like, if you really want to reach out to me, I rarely do Messenger because like it takes up a lot of my time. But feel free to join my group, which is e-commerce elites mastermind. Just search it on Facebook. I post questions in the group. You can easily just reach out to me, or from time to time, I'm gonna check my messages. So if you have something really like urgent or a good proposal, you want to partner up with us, just shoot me a quick message. I'll get back to you when I see the message. Yeah. Thanks, Trevor.
Yeah, Steve, thank you so much, man. Sorry I had to pull my video. There's my hat off. I pulled my video real quick just because I started to get lag. I had lightning hit in our neighborhood about a week ago, and so the internet kind of goes like this.
Wow.
Steve, thank you so much, man. Incredible value, a lot of information. The last thing before we close, I found a trend with people that really do well, and that is this. Most online marketers are focusing only on the front end traffic. They're driving as much as they can, and then they forget about that person. They don't do anything with them. They just, it's like, okay, now the next person. One and done, hit and quit. That's all they want. And the marketers that are succeeding on a high level, I found focus, they drive that front end traffic, but then they make sure that traffic gets followed up with, that it's not just the retarget app in Shopify, that they're doing really in-depth retargeting across multi-channels, and that they're doing it intelligently. What does your remarketing strategy kind of look like in closing?
Yeah, I mean, we don't use any apps. I mean, just that's the cold hard truth. We don't believe in these apps, right? I mean, it's either they're taking information from you with the pixel. I mean, I know there's like apps that does that, right? So, I mean, I still like the manual approach. We do have like teams setting up DPAs, dynamic product ads, for all this. So, I mean, we do have, I mean, our retargeting is not super complicated, right? We do have like, we use dynamic product ads for prospecting. We also do like dynamic products ads for like retargeting as well. So we do split them up. People that actually bought from our store will use them for like, selling related products. It actually makes sense for people that has bought from you before, and you don't have to like reach out to people that's, they don't know you, right? So if they have bought from you once and your service, your branding and everything is up to par, the chances of them buying something related in the same niche is going to happen really high, right? So we do, I mean, my email marketing is crap. I was telling the same thing to my friends yesterday. So like, I really want to push up my e-commerce marketing to account for like 20% of my entire sales, right? So I'm going to go crazy into investing in like, like people that's gonna like run this thing properly for me, because I know we're leaving out a lot of free money on the table, not doing like email marketing. We do email marketing, but it's just really basic, right? Just some basic follow-up, some broadcast. We're not tracking crazily on email marketing, which we should, right? So that's a wake-up call for us. And we do have like, I mean, I know a lot of people doing like recurring membership subscriptions, but that's something we do have up our pipeline for a skincare brand that we're doing. But for physical products, probably we're still avoiding that for now, because we want to make sure, I know there's a lot of chargebacks for that, so we just want to make sure our accounts are clean, we don't get like, we don't increase our chargeback rates, because like we just want to make more money. But obviously, if you could keep that under control, definitely go for it, right? If like your recurring subscriptions are really of super good value to your customers, go for that. But if you're just planning to do that for like kind of like scammy, kind of like, just trying to boost your revenue, don't do that because like it's gonna come back and haunt you. Like if you lose your merchant accounts, you lose your PayPal, you lose your Stripe, or whichever merchant accounts you lose, it's not worth the whole effort, right? So that's our kind of like remarketing strategy right now. We don't have something like super complicated. It's all manual. We do dynamic product ads. We do individual product ads, retargeting people that we do have like short sequence, like people that have seen once but didn't buy. We try to cap it at about like 3 to 4 times frequency cap. We don't want to like overspend on like having like 7, 8, 10 kind of touches before they buy. I know a lot of brands do that, but we try to just cap it at probably 3, 4 times frequency before like we move on to the next audience.
Gotcha. Awesome. Steve, thanks so much, man. We're going to link to your group below and then also to the Ecom World Summit. Thank you for your time. And
No
we'll chat with you soon, man. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Trevor. Thanks for having me today. See you soon, buddy.
See you soon.